how to read a book. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Today we're going to be talking about how to read a book. And it was kind of interesting. I had this concept earlier today, probably in the shower or something. And I was scrolling through my YouTube today, through some of my subscriptions, and a very popular YouTube channel had the exact same title for their video today, and I ended up watching it just to see if how he was covering it was anything close to how I was covering it, and it wasn't. So you don't have to worry about that. This is completely different, but I'm sticking to it. I was gonna do this. I'm gonna do it all the way, even though someone else had the same idea. So. This is an example of a book that I read in the last couple of years. This is called The Starfish and the Spider. If you haven't read this one, this is a really interesting one on organizations. This is the subtitles, The Unstoppable Power of Leaderless Organizations. This is by Brofman and Beckstrom. You can go and check this out. This one was put out a few years back. Let me see here. Just double check the date here if I can find it real quick. 2006. Well, a little older than I thought, but very good book. All about the different styles of organizations and how many of them, we always think of organizations, especially in North America, we tend to think of organizations as top down. You know, you have a leader and they get other people involved, and it just grows in that way. And all of the movement, you talk about corporations or most modern businesses, it all comes from the top down in very hierarchical fashion. Whereas there are a lot of traditional forms of organizations, businesses and otherwise, that have been able to succeed being completely scattered and somewhat random. And so it talks about the pros and cons of both extremes of that model, but also the fact that most end up being a hybrid of that. The ones that really last have the hybrid of both worlds. I'm not going to get too deep into this book today. We'll cover that at a different time. But I wanted to use this as an example. This was a paperback book that I got. I had heard an interview on the radio. Here's the reason why let me take this back a bit. The reason why I wanted to do this video is because there's so many of you that want to read more, or have a desire, or see other people reading more and think that maybe it's a good idea if you read more, but you just can't get yourself to do it. I'm going to give you a couple tips, just a handful of tips that hopefully they'll help you out. Number one, nowadays, nearly everything is being put out on audiobook. If you haven't tried listening to audiobooks and you have a really tough time sitting down and reading, try listening to audiobooks. Nowadays, audiobooks are great because you could speed them up if the person's reading too slow. You could slow them down if they're reading too fast. You could pause it and set it aside. And you can get a really good feel for a book by listening to it first, especially if it's a story-based book. This one probably would have made a good audiobook. I'm not sure if it's available on audiobook or not, but it jumps from story to story, so it's one of those that's an easy read. But that's one way for you to be able to get into books and to find the type of books that really grab you. What you've got to do is find types of books, and I tend to stick to a lot of nonfiction, but I'm always looking for things that are in the fiction realm that mean something to me, and most of the time I just don't find very many that hit me hard. There's so much good nonfiction out there that I'm enjoying, and stuff that directly relates to the help that I'm being able to give business owners and so forth through brianjpombo.com, which is a great transition into dreambizchat.com. If you're a business owner, if you are specifically in the self-reliance field, meaning you have products and services that help people to become more self-reliant, and through becoming more self-reliant means they can help more people in the long run, then go to dreambizchat.com. Dreambizchat.com. Link is in the description. There's a great video there to go check out. I don't know if it's a great video, but it's a video that explains the dream business transformation and kind of give you an idea about that. Dreambizchat.com. Okay, there's a little commercial for you. Now, audiobooks is a great way to get started, just to find the type of books you're looking for. The good thing about a good nonfiction book, sometimes they'll even include other books about the same topic that you can dig into further. Just start trying out a whole bunch of different topics that you're interested in, that you think would fit where you like to take things, where if you want to learn more about um, growing your business, learn more about any specific area, you can find a book on it. There's a million more books out there than there were last year and the year before and the year before that. And there's so many good ones. There's just so much good stuff. Audiobooks are great. Here's another way to do it. Digital books. You can get a Kindle. Let me see, I don't have mine here. They go on sale every once in a while. You can get one of the least expensive Kindles available is I believe it's called the Kindle 7, at least at the time that I'm videotaping this. It was a Kindle 7. It's $40 to $50, depending on whether it's on sale or not. I think I got mine for 30 or so when it was on sale. So you can keep, it's an Amazon Kindle Fire 7, and it's a great little machine. I wish I had it here to show it to you, but it's just a little tablet that's made specifically for reading books. You can download books really inexpensively off of Amazon. It's sometimes a huge difference in price between a physical book and a downloadable book. You put it right on there. Once you have it, you can walk around with it. The best thing about having a Kindle is that it specifically, and there are other, of course, there's other tablets out there that are used for reading. Find one that has the ability to read out loud to you. Now you don't need an audiobook. Now, when you get tired or you're just wanting, even if you want assistance, if you want to read while you're reading along with it, you can do that. But it's an automated voice that reads, and they do pretty well. It's pretty listenable. It's pretty easy to hear. You can control the speed on it. Another way to be able to consume books quickly and to get you into the mode of reading more. Now, another thing that helps me to read is I'll get a book and I'll sit there with a pen or a highlighter. And this is one of the reasons why I brought this book, because there's no rhyme or reason to how I do it. Sometimes I'll put a little star and an underline. If I've got a highlighter, sometimes I'll highlight a whole sentence, or I'll just make little symbols and stuff saying, hey, all this matters. Every once in a while I'll write something in the margins. I'm not as much of a writer in books, but I will mark them because I like to think that, and there's some more highlights, I like to think that I know why I highlighted it, or that reading it will bring it to mind. And that's the main idea behind it anyways. It's just, and for some reason they say that you comprehend, you're able to absorb more if you're sitting there with a pen or a highlighter in your hand, because you're looking for what matters in it. Even if it's a book that you're not really thrilled with, you'll find more that's good in it if you're searching for more that's good in it. And so it helps with your comprehension, how much you hold on to. That there is a benefit to reading it versus listening to it. It enters a different part of the brain. Your memory changes quite a bit with it. There's a lot of studies done on this that you can go and look up. Another great thing is physical books they found this, and they're not quite sure why all this exists, but they say that when you have a physical book, you retain more of it than when you have a digital book. Whether you're reading it off a computer screen, your phone, or a tablet, they say that physical books actually work better. So oftentimes I will buy an electronic version or buy the audio version, and if I really, really like it and I think it's something that's going to be valuable that I'll go back to, I'll get quotes from, or anything of that sort, I will go and then buy a physical copy. But then I've already heard it, everything else, and sometimes I'll buy a cheap or a used copy. On Amazon, you can buy some amazingly cheap and used copies there. It's great. So those are just a few tips to kind of get things rolling for you, get you into reading books. I don't read all the books. You don't have to finish books. I'm sorry. You don't have to finish them. Sometimes you keep them around till you're ready to get to them. I got tons of books that I haven't gotten to yet, honestly, or I've read just a little bit of it and I'll get to it later. And some of the best books that I've had were ones that I've had for a year that I haven't touched. And once I touched them, it was just the right thing at the right time. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Hey, get out there and let the magic happen. We'll be back here tomorrow. See ya.